Hey, welcome back to part two. All right, so we've got the blank all set, ready to go. Today what we're going to do is we're going to put on the guard, and we're going to peen it. This should be pretty much putting on the guard, doing the handle, and finishing it up. So I'm going to do my best to make this one shorter than the last one, just because the first one was really long. But I can only edit so much, especially as new at as I am. So welcome to it, and we'll see what we can do. Thanks. All right, we've slid the guard on, and we've got it lined up with a hole. Next step is we're going to drive the nickel silver rod through. All right, so we've got our pin through, all the way through on both sides. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pin it in place on the anvil. Is probably the easiest way, but you could do it on any hard surface, I believe. But anyway, we'll do this real quick. So we've got it pinned in on both sides, and this will grind off later as we bring the guard down to the shape and size we want it. All right, now what we're going to do is we're just going to smooth this out. I got a semi-used 120 belt on here. We're going to just take down the pins. This first side. I'll do the second side. I don't know if you can tell, but you can hardly even tell where that pin is anymore. All right, now we've switched to slightly used 80 grit, and I'm going to take these down so that they're pretty much flush with the spine of the blade. So let's see where we are. Then we'll kind of bring the basic shape of the guard in. All right, you can see there we got just sort of the basic of the shape of the guard. All right, now we've got the small wheel attachment. I'm just going to go on the inside of these black marks. Okay, you can see now how we've got the guard and how it comes straight down onto the knife blank itself. So there's where we are. This is where we left off. We're going to be putting some red liners on both sides. And then we're going to add some green canvas micarta on top of that. Is I'm going to tape this off and sandblast this to give it as best adhesion as we can get. All right, so now we've got it sandblasted, and I've taped it so that the bottom of my guard has been sandblasted too, because I would like to put some liner on the bottom of the guard as well. All right, we're going to drill some holes in these scales. We got it squared up like we want it. So now we're going to drill our holes through the scale. Pulling it as tight as we can. All right, and we'll do the same thing on the other side. All right, I got my step drill countersink, also available at Pops, which will allow me to go in to the center of the hole and then only go down to my stop, which is right there. which I have set on the drill press. I don't know if you can tell, but it's about halfway through the scale. We're going to do the same thing on this one. To the other side, as you can see where we've got it marked, that's the inside that's going to face the blade itself. So we're going to flip it over to this side, do the same thing. All right, next thing is going to be assembly. All right, next thing we're going to do is we're going to do the epoxy. All right, we got our scales here. I've got them roughed up with some sandpaper. I'm going to hit everything with acetone. Just make sure we got a good grease-free surface. All right, so we got our first one here with our fasteners through from the back side. All right, now we'll let that set up. All right, so now epoxy's set up. First thing we're going to do is grind off the edges of these fasteners on both sides. Then we'll start doing the profile. All right, so we got those guys ground flush, and you got to kind of keep it cool while you do this because you don't want to overheat the epoxy. All right, so we're starting to get our basic profile back. That gets the rough stuff off. Now I don't have to take quite as much off with the belts. And we're just going to take off the rest of the rough stuff. All right, next I'm going to change over to fresh aluminum oxide so that I can kind of bring this down a little bit. Right now, this one is a new fresh 36 aluminum oxide. These guys last a pretty long time if you don't use them on steel. But if you're doing handle material, we're going to try and take down the square edges, round this out a bit. Then we'll be ready to do some shaping. Okay, you can see now that we've got our basic handle shape back, brought it down to the steel, sort of rounded the edges a little bit, and now we'll change over to putting on some smaller wheels, get in tight to the guard area, and we'll go one step at a time. All right, now I've got a 1/2 inch wheel put on. small wheel attachment. What I'm going to do is get down in here, go ahead and get this kind of in the area I want it to be. Then we can start shaping. Alright, so we got up here into the guard. Got that smoothed out and evened out. And you can see we're starting taking on the basic shape of the drop point hunter. Alright, so now we've got the tape off and the basic shape on the blade, on the guard. We need to fine tune the back edge of the spine of the knife, smooth out our edges just a hair, get this to the point where there's absolutely no sharp points. All right, now I've taken off the platen, so I got a little bit of flexibility here. All right, now we're going to go to 320. now I got these super wheels that I'm going to be using. I just got this little cheap Harbor Freight bench grinder, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go from 200, and then I'm going to go to I'm sorry, I'm going to go from 220 to 400 to 600 to 800. Kind of see how 200's looking here. Got a little bit of scuff marks in here. That's probably the 120 stuff. We're going to go back and hit that with hand sandpaper real quick. And I'll be right back. All right, you see a little stuff there? Over here. And back to it. 220. All right, now we got just a little bit of hand sanding left to do on this guy. And as you can see, we've got the red liners. We've got the green micarta. We've got the nickel silver guard. We did not solder. We just fit it as close as we possibly could. It's got some flaws, certainly not the quickest way or the only way to do a Loveless style 4-inch hunter, but I had fun doing it, and it should be a nice, light, sprightly little knife. Taper tang, all set, and ready to go. Thanks for watching. Dan, Unicus Blades, and we're around here, we say back to the grind's a good thing. Thanks for watching.